Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to the Angel Laura Spiritual Boutique Show. Actually, it's the Angel Laura Show, and I'm Sacred Owl. I'm one of the co-hosts, and we have Leilani.
Hey.
And we have Diane, who's the owner of the Angel Laura Spiritual Boutique. But before she tells us a little bit about it, you can listen live and tune in radio at www.paulingpublicradio.org and thebeatovthevalley.com. And also, we're streaming live on Facebook Live at Sacred Owl Q Quinones, the Angel Laura
Spiritual Boutique,
and
the Magical Solution.
The Magical Solution. If you want to tap in live and talk to, look at us while we're talking, okay, guys? And hello to everybody, and welcome.
Hey,
hey,
everybody. So I'm Diane Rivera, and I own the Angel Aura Spiritual Boutique here in the village of Pauling, at 12 West Main Street. AngelAuraSpiritualBoutique.com. Hey Lisa, I'm glad you're joining us. So I'll tell you a little bit about the shop. It's a metaphysical store. Amongst that, we have many readers at the shop. Everyone,
it's true. It's true.
So check out the website. You can read all about us. We have lots of events that come up during the month. We do have this week Joe LaCastro will be in on Thursday evening doing his workshop at 6:30. I think it starts.
Yeah,
that was a great workshop. He did it 2 weeks ago, and everyone loved it. Got a lot of good feedback with it.
that's awesome.
And a couple of other things. So I'm gonna tell you about that later on. I'm gonna pull it up, let you know what's happening, and so let's get going.
Well, before we get going, the word from our sponsor. We have Rivera Law Offices, 309 Mill Street, Poughkeepsie, New York, 845-452-1422, JuliusRiveraLaw.com. Offices are located in Poughkeepsie, Pauling, Peekskill, Middletown, the Bronx, and Daytona Beach, Florida. Julius Rivera has over 30 years of experience specializing in consumer bankruptcy, uncontested divorce, wills, mortgage modifications, deed transfers, POAs, and so much more. Again, that's JuliusRiveraLaw.com.
Wow, you did that so great.
You're getting better. I've been practicing.
It's definitely professional. Very good. Very proud of you.
You should see me in my bathroom mirror.
Hey, nothing wrong with that at all, you know?
It's so cool. So I did not come prepared with the list of what's happening this month for the rest of the month, but a lot of super cool stuff happening. I am also putting together a women's retreat.
Oh my
in
goodness,
June,
I'm so excited about
and
this.
And that's going to be a lot of fun, and lots of new stuff happening. I'm putting it all together, so we're going to be rocking and rolling all spring and summer.
Well, one event definitely that we're all really, really looking forward to is at the end of the month, your spiritual Seance.
With some paranormal
some stuff happening.
Investigating at the background of it. So
yes, our boy Billy's gonna be there with his machinery.
Absolutely, my man Billy. I love Billy and his wife.
I was just gonna say he brings his wife with him, and I'm so sorry. Always
Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're great, and the equipment is so much fun. Everybody loves the experience of seeing the REM pod and the voice box. Is that what you call that?
Yeah, the voice box.
Voice box.
Yeah, and it's it's the REM pod, the voice box. I forgot the name of it. Then we have we also have now, of course, everything, all the equipment goes blank in my head. But,
this is what happens when you're right.
We have a lot of things going on, and actually, one of the programs that he has on his computer that it actually lets us talk directly to spirits. And let me tell you something. Some of the stuff that falls out of their mouth is
amazing.
It's hilarious.
It is.
And so, you never know what they're going to say. You never know what they're going to do. One time they called me a fake psychic, and I just laughed, because, if I'm a fake psychic,
you to shut up, remember?
told me
Told
to
you
shut up.
Shut up.
Yeah, no, because, I don't antagonize them. I really have a lot of respect for the spirit world. But, they
got their own personalities. You know how it is.
Exactly.
You know how it is.
And when they die, they crossover. They have a whole bunch of things going on. But before we get into that, why don't you say hello to some of your fans?
Well, they're not in yet. So what I do want to say is to everybody on Facebook, right? So we got Facebook at Sacred Owl. We got Facebook at Angel Aura. We got Facebook at The Magical Solution. You can also call in on
you can call in on my cell. Most of you do have the phone number, but it's 845-406-7021.
Yes, and tonight's topic is
Mhm.
going to be about ghosts and hauntings and spirits and seances and all those fun topics that everyone is always so curious about. So get your thinking caps on, get ready, ask
Yes.
your questions, because we're ready for them.
So let's tell them a little bit more about. Sorry, my headphones are a little crooked.
That's okay.
What happens in the seance?
Yes, break it down.
Exactly. So I've talked to several people this past 2 weeks about the seance. People calling in or stopping in, say, "Hey, I want to come to the seance, but I'm nervous,
Okay.
and I don't want to come to the seance and take something home with me." That does not happen at our seance.
Yeah, but what happens though is that you bring something with you.
Exactly.
And that's what happens a lot. People think they're taking it home is actually what they bring with them. It's like really crazy.
Right. And we'll start off the seance with the prayer, of course, and we only invite love and light into our circle. And we do protect everybody. And at the end of the seance, we scoot all those little spirits out the door before you leave. So we're cleansing you before you leave. So don't worry about that. That's not an issue at all. So don't be afraid to come.
Okay, that's really cool. And also, Billy also, even though he's a paranormal investigator, he carries a kind of cleansing energy about himself also.
Definitely.
And so when we're there, we those who are there are going to make sure that nothing, the places, what we call is that we carry space for situations.
Right.
So we have all of us that are there that are aware of the spirits. We see the spirits. We're carrying space for you so that you can experience it without the effects or the negativity that might go along with it. So like now, Leilani, like I'm totally like excited that she's coming because Leilani doesn't usually come to these things.
Nope.
Right. And so that just brings us another little filter, another little warrior that's there to make sure that things are not going to be out of pocket. But I'm going to tell you something. The worst that happens is that they talk a lot of crap. They talk, oh my God, they talk.
This is true.
They talk and they say what they got to say, but they don't touch you. They're not going to attach themselves to you. They're not allowed to. And if they do, then we have, at the shop, she has all different types of spiritual cleansing things to Palo Santo, sage, Florida water, all these different things, even stones, because the place is loaded with stones. So, you can wash yourself through the space and not have to even ever worry about anything coming home with you. Now, what you have at home already, that's your problem and that's your business.
Exactly.
But, and we could come fix that for you if you need that. But the reality is that at the shop, with these seances and these things, you're not going to have that kind of a challenge. So do you want to say hi to some of the people on your Facebook?
Well, right
line?
now Lisa and Marion are hanging in. There's a few other people haven't shown themselves yet, but they are there.
I got Debbie and Ryan and my husband Archie up in here.
Hey guys.
Hi guys.
And I got Lori, Frank, my brother from another mother, my man Stan from Baltimore, Danielle. We got Nicole. And William Forgas. Nicole,
Get those questions ready, you
right?
guys.
Exactly.
Get those questions.
Lisa, who's a fantastic reader. I love her to death. One of my favorite teachers, Andrea, and Sumay, and April. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you being here.
Okay, I found the rest of my group.
Yeah, sometimes they don't show up. You only get like a few people.
So Raquel is there. I wanted to give a shout out to her and Elizabeth, Marion. We said Carissa, Hay, and Julianne. They're all out there. Thank you guys for joining in. And Marion said I was her bodyguard during the seance.
Yeah, I usually am. Right.
So it's more if we put together a circle and Billy's outside the circle and we are receiving messages from spirit as they enter the room or come in to visit with you or came in with you.
I actually had a question before we started. So a friend of mine who I told as soon as you said yes to this subject, I was like, yeah, we're gonna do it. She was like, ask about why people do seances or like what is the purpose of a seance? What is the purpose of connecting to the spirits? Like, why would we as living beings do something like that?
Well, I think what they did with seance was make it a gallery now.
Yeah, it's true. You get like mediums and they.
So in this seance, we have in our shop we have a couple of mediums that are with us, or all of the mediums might be in. and you're receiving messages from spirit just as if you came for a reading, right? And before, after the seance, people turned it into a gallery. But
Nice.
we are still in a circle. We're not at a table. We're not doing any of that. Table's not moving. We're not doing any of that. It's more about receiving messages and feeling the energy and opening you up to opening up your own gifts, so that you can feel and experience that. Does that answer some of it?
It does, and if you want me to add to it, I can.
Sure.
The purpose, well, there are some people who actually go out, and the purpose of the seance is based on curiosity. There is really nothing wrong with that. It's just a matter of, like, let's just frame it this way. If somebody just walks into your house, right, and they start saying, "Hey, say something. Hey, give me a number. Hey, could you talk to me? Hey, how come you're not doing this? Hey." That is so daggone annoying. And so if you come into a space where there are spirits and you start to do that, you're antagonizing them. And once you antagonize them, you may not get much of a response. You may not get them to even talk to you, or you may get them to be just super rude and super nasty with you. And so when you're going into that space, the purpose of a seance is to try to communicate to the other side, but in a manner that's very respectful, very honorable, and very, very kind. I know I've been in many, many paranormal investigations, and I've had people who were straight up a-holes. And they antagonized, they pushed, and some of the people out there who are paranormal investigators, you know who I'm talking about. So
been called out.
Right, and so, but with that, we sit back and we have to create a dialogue between the spirit world and us. And a seance is the concept of dialogue. How do we do it respectfully? How do we do it with honor and that? And I know that different ideologies have different rituals that say, okay, we're going to talk to the spirits, we're going to do it this way, we're going to say it that way, and stuff like that. Hi, Willow, how you doing? And Willow is one of my favorite paranormal investigators, and she's also a phenomenal reader. So, but with that in mind, I'd like to ask you, Leilani, because since you are coming to this, what is your process? What are you comfortable doing when it comes to dealing with the other side?
So in my culture, so I come from the Caribbean culture, Puerto Rican, and
Really?
in our culture,
Really?
we there is a practice that is very similar to what you guys are talking about. It's called Espiritismo. And it's a practice where, and this is just one aspect of it. It's a very complex practice, but one aspect of it is to do seances very similar to that. But the goal of those seances are not necessarily to receive messages, although that's a plus. The goal of these seances are to, number one, elevate your spirits, to meet your spirit guides, to practice your intuitive skills and begin to sort of expand upon them and get better at them in this practice. And it's very ritualistic. There's a lot of prayer involved. There's lots of cleansing involved. There may, if you're lucky, there may be some interaction with the spirit coming into people and speaking through people. If you're lucky in those situations. Some nights it's some, what we call them is misas. Some misas are very dead, if you will, or doesn't have much activity going on at all. But the purpose is to practice being still, practice listening. So it's less about the spirits and more about your own personal growth
experience.
So you can build yourself up as a medium, if you will.
So
going to your seance, obviously my first thing is to sit and watch and be respectful and create sacred space and safe space, make sure everyone is good, and just kind of chime in wherever I can in those moments.
Well, what happens too is that a lot of people that do come into one of the workshops and the seances and stuff, especially in the seance, we wind up with people that come in that have abilities, gifts, and they'll start giving messages themselves, what they're feeling. So we do that. We ask them how they're feeling, what they're experiencing, because that's what it's about. You're supposed to be part of it.
Right.
It's not just us, the mediums. going around giving messages. We like the group also to join in and explain what it is that they're feeling or, experiencing. And so, and you'll be surprised. It's really pretty cool because, people that are, they're gifted and they don't even realize that they have those wonderful gifts.
And a seance is a perfect opportunity for you to find a safe community, a group of people who are in it just like you, and you can just say whatever you feel.
Exactly.
And not feel worried about being judged or anything like that.
Exactly.
So with the misas that you're talking about, which in English is translated to masses or mass, which is actually a Catholic term, right? But it's actually kind of cool. The mass is a ceremony or a ritual that is given to honor the spirits and honor the dead. With that, you mentioned that sometimes they get to talk and they jump into people or they talk through people. Not jump in. Let me take that back.
Right.
Let me take that back.
Everybody's shaking now.
No.
It doesn't, not like that.
No, because there are some people that are designated and know that they're going to be the ones that are going to be the channelers of those specific spirits and stuff like that.
Yes.
We as practitioners, we know that they might jump. Now that I'm going to use a term, they could jump into us because we're giving them permission to do that.
Exactly.
But with that in mind, as you find it, have you ever experienced resistance or sometimes even sarcasm or some or a negative flow with that?
No.
Okay.
No, because that's the whole point of all of those prayers and all of the rituals and all of the cleansings that are done prior to and just and during, is so that can't possibly come into a misa. The minute it does come to, it gets shut down and everything gets closed off. People get cleansed and it starts all over again. Right. So no, that does not happen.
Okay, which is great. It's great to hear. So people, you listening, right? It's not something that we're going to sit there and irresponsibly pull down a Ouija board.
No.
And then start calling things down. And mind you, don't be very quickly. Don't be afraid of Ouija boards. Just respect it. That's all.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's just another form of divination, whether you're using tarot cards or the Ouija board or what else do we use? Table tipping, charming,
which I love. I sit down and sometimes I watch Lady Honey with a charming and I look from a distance and it's like she throws all this stuff down and it's like, oh damn. Okay, and then you're reading all that, but that's a whole topic for another time. But I'm just saying, it's really cool how you can read that and read through all that. And so, but if anybody has any questions they want to ask about paranormal, there's some paranormal people actually watching. They could even answer in the comments.
And join in, give us some.
Right, and give us some information.
Advice, information.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Maribel. Hi, Rocky.
Hey, Gabriel. I see you out there. Come on. You love this topic. This is your favorite topic.
Exactly. And we want to say hi to Michelle and Allie and Scotchen. And I actually have a comment here that one of Andrea said that her husband, a person that passed away tragically in the house that she bought, and her husband felt the energy in there. And she said, but it hasn't, she didn't continue to comment about what occurred or what happened. But it seems like she says she's worried about it. So let's talk about that very quickly. When you worry about something, what do you think happens and what do you think occurs?
I mean, think about it. It's kind of like the law of attraction.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You're giving it power.
You're giving it power. You're perseverating on it. You're giving it the energy it needs to manifest.
Right.
Exactly.
And could you stop it from manifesting?
Yeah.
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
And what would be some of the techniques you would use?
Well, first, stop thinking about it. And just cut that shit out. But
ignore it. Exactly. Ignore it.
And give the opposite its attention, whatever that opposite is.
And she also commented that she said it was a dream that he felt restrained in the dream, and so so that we could clarify that in my viewpoints, when you feel restrained in the dream, is actually trying to get you to listen. It's not so much that you're being trapped or pulled into that. They're trying to get you to listen and to put into that. What are the comments you're getting there?
Oh no, this was just a residual comment from when we were talking about people who allow the spirits to jump into them. They were commenting that we shouldn't do that unless you know how to bring them in.
It's not,
and it's true. I think a lot of people, just to kind of rewind a little bit, and we'll pick back up where we were.
Sure.
I think a lot of people get confused with the word with the words possession versus the word mounting. Those are two very different activities. Possession is a non-consensual activity where a spirit jumps into a body that is unwilling, unconsenting, unknowing, and will take over. Those are the kinds of things that you tend to see on movies like The Exorcist and all that fun stuff, right? But mounting is a practice, is an actual practice where individuals are calling spirits into themselves so that they can be channels for those spirits. They are offering their bodies as houses for their spirits. And it's a very consensual relationship. So just to make that clear, because I think a lot of people get those things confused.
Right. And so with the mounting, what kind of processes or tools are used?
Oh, it varies. It varies. One of the most common, I mean, again, it depends on what culture you're from, but one of the most common ones is probably music and drumming and dancing,
right.
Getting yourself in an ecstatic state.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with a seance like what we're doing, this is a lot more tamer, obviously. We're going to be in a nice, calm environment. Everyone is going to be breathing, praying, speaking, and it's just going to be loose conversation, very easygoing. It's nothing ritualistic. What I'm talking about are two definitions that are very much involved with certain cultures and certain kinds of ritualistic practices.
So,
Exactly.
Diane, tell us again, when is this event? So
It is
everybody
on Saturday the 29th at 6 p.m.
I'm so excited.
Okay, again, Saturday
I'm
the
so
29th at 6 p.m. We're going to have this event. It usually runs from 2 to 3 hours long, so be prepared. Bring water.
Yes.
If not,
Yes, bring water.
I'll supply water too if you don't have water.
Snacks
You need to
if
drink
you
a lot
want.
of water.
yeah, water.
You're welcome to bring us snacks. Absolutely, we accept them. I just wanted to let Raquel know I'm going to answer your question. Her question was how to connect with her spirit, but I just wanted to give this little story out there that goes along with our topic, just what we're talking about. And I know Leilani told Al we were going to get back to this, and this has to do with that. I did have a woman come in today, and when she came in, she said, there's activity happening in my house. So here's the question for you guys too.
Ooh.
Right? So I said, well, what's happening? And she says, well, the toaster, toaster up and down, flew across her kitchen counter. And she also has some...
I love when that happens.
Yeah.
I love
movement happening.
Yeah, right.
And so, no one was around, just her husband was in the kitchen, and the animals were not in the room. So, she tried to debunk it and, found that no way, no how someone else could have moved it. Also, in her basement, her stuff in her basement was thrown all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Her washer and dryer is down there, and she's been having a problem with the washer and dryer. And so, she doesn't know why she's having these crazy little problems with this machine, and then because they're new, and now when she's gone down, things have been blowing all over her house in the basement. So she has what she feels is possibly there was an older gentleman who lived there. They built the house, and they're doing some renovating. So that's kind of a key.
Mm-hmm.
And what should she do? That's the question. What should she do?
So before we get to that question, let's have you guys think on it. What do you think is going on with this lady and this energy that's happening in her house? And we're going to take a music break. Why don't we put on some Stairway to Heaven by Led?
Yay. Woo, love them.
That's messed up, man. Listen, the minute you start messing with my laundry... We're going to have a problem, okay?
Raquel, when we come back, I am going to answer your question. Don't worry. It is out there. It's up on my screen. We're having a music break here in the studio. We're recording the show.
By the way, Raquel, not to insult you or anything like that, but I named my car after Raquel. I did. Raquel Welch, to be exact, because that name is so sexy and so beautiful. I love it. So you go, girl.
She was fine.
Raquel Welch was beautiful.
She was.
My daddy's favorite person in the whole wide world, so I named my car Raquel.
Yeah, so fine.
So Raquel became a friend of the show and the shop through Alan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Daniel. Hey, Mom. Hey, JD, Ada. What's up, y'all?
This crazy camera.
Thank you for watching. So we're talking about ghosts and spirits and hauntings and seances and all that fun stuff. So get your questions going because we want to answer more questions.
Can you squeeze that there? Because I don't want to get up.
What do you want to squeeze?
Like, yeah. See, so just there we go. Because we can't get up.
Sorry. I wasn't ready to hear that.
I didn't want to do that.
What happened?
She's so silly. She's silly.
Oh,
Did I leave my
okay.
water? I left my water out. Oh man.
Where's it at?
I don't know. It's out there. I don't feel like getting it.
There's the water here.
Hey Ada, what's up, girl? Is a mini one?
Yeah, it's me.
See my juice there? You don't have the juice there.
We got to give a shout out to Rob. Don't forget to give a shout out to Rob when we get back on.
You know, so.
Ooh, spirits, y'all, ghosts, hauntings. My mom said the renovations is the key. The person that lived there is not happy with this home and that his home is being disturbed.
For sure.
Hey,
Yeah,
Marion.
we're gonna definitely talk about that.
Yeah.
When we come
Yeah.
back, you know.
My mom is so smart. I think that you may have strong energy and you can bring it into yourself. True or false? Oh, are you asking like if you're a strong energy person that tends to attract more stuff to you? Is that what you're asking? If that is what you're asking, I will say, in my opinion, yes, because the more energy you have, it's kind of like you're a beacon of light. You know what I mean? And like things just they see you and they want to be around you. Marion, she says, "Boo! What you booing for? Ew! Get out of my face, Marion. Why are you
Trying to be
booing?"
a scary ghost.
Archie is like, "Yes,
Yeah,
amazing song. I know. We picked it.
I love this song.
It's a great song.
I love this song.
I'm trying not to talk too much during it, but
Did you ever get you ever see the when they honored them when Obama was president? They did.
no, I didn't see
And
that.
you guys see it on YouTube.
I didn't see that.
The woman that's I don't know the name of the artist. When she sung it, it was off the chain.
Oh
Off
man.
the chain.
Oh mom, I love you.
Hey guys, I'm gonna say hello to everybody. Hey Cosmo, Angela, Ricky, Ricky, how you doing?
It was
Jessica,
a good boo.
Jessica, how are you? Pamela.
Okay.
Patricia, how you doing?
Whatever
Patricia?
that means.
Raquel says
Tina, how are
thanks.
you, love? How you doing? You know,
I probably
and,
made her so
you know,
uncomfortable.
and just glad to see you guys on. We appreciate that very much, very, very much. You know.
Raquel says thanks, babe.
You know.
Is that a mutual friend of ours? No, I'm not talking. It could be. I
Who?
think maybe she is your friend. Tracy.
I don't know.
Oh,
my goodness.
the
She's
woman
too
I'm
funny.
talking about, yes.
Hey, Lydia.
My Facebook keeps
What's up, lady?
freezing
Thank you
up
for
on me.
watching. I would like to hear him play it too. You should hear him sing it. Ooh.
Okay, now we got a whole conversation going here. Yes, Tracy has.
I want to know what's going on.
Tracy says she has a spirit in her house and that likes to scare her dog.
Oh, geez. Yeah, if you guys have any spirits in your home or any experiences with spirits or ghosts, drop them in the comments. Let's talk about it.
Raquel says they don't hear the music.
That's because we're talking too much.
No, what happens is they cut it off because it's rights on Facebook.
Oh.
Facebook filters the music.
Facebook
Gotcha.
shut off the music. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, guys.
It
Yeah.
is Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven. Yes,
Yo, Facebook
I
is-
feel my dog.
I'm not gonna say
too.
nothing.
Molly, that's what
I get put in jail all the
I
time.
feel
on
her
Facebook.
laying in bed next to me at night. I've heard her actually bark. You can sing it for us.
Let's get ready to roll back here. And we're going to answer that question.
What?
We're definitely going to answer that question.
Okay.
We're getting back on, girl.
Hey!
Hey, everybody. Okay.
I wasn't ready. I'm sorry. All right, let's
we
do
are
it.
back.
And
So we
are
had a
back.
question. We had the question.
And welcome to the Angel Aura Show.
Yes.
And I am so excited to be here. We are at 12 West Main Street in the Village of Pauling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you.
And we are here with Leilani and
Woo.
Sacred Owl.
Yeah.
And do me a favor and ask the question that she asked.
Oh, who,
Your peeps.
Oh, so the woman who had the stuff in the house.
Right.
What do you think it was? So we had a few comments. We had some people who thought that the renovations might be stirring up some issues.
Right.
Right. I got that same comment here.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. And Tracy, who winds up to be the woman I'm talking about, is her friend.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot that they were friends. She also says that she has a spirit in her house that likes to scare her dog.
Right.
Aw. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh.
Poor puppy.
Aw, poor baby.
Poor puppy. And so, anyway, so getting back to our conversation on her people are posting the funniest crap. Oh, sorry.
So someone wanted to know how to connect with these spirits. So which one are we addressing first? Because we got a bunch, so everyone's like, jumping on this one.
Let's address the moving of the toaster and the
moving of the toaster. So here's my take on that thing, and you guys can chime in or disagree, because I have a lot of opinions about stuff like this. Too many opinions, a problem. But usually when something is when an energy is at a point where it can begin to move objects or touch you or be able to physically manifest to a point where like they almost look solid.
Right.
You're dealing with something that's above and beyond just a ghost-like energy. And so for me personally, even if they don't intend you any harm, even if they're just trying to get attention, for me personally, I would definitely try and just get rid of that energy and remove it from the home.
That's a question. Like, what would you do to remove it?
Well, you don't have to necessarily remove it. What you can do is create a compromise with it.
I wouldn't do it.
Right.
I wouldn't.
No, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, because remember, the whole point of them being able to move objects to begin with means that they've cultivated enough energy to do so. So the reason why your laundry room is not working right, the reason why your electrical stuff is haywire all the time, the reason why you tend to be exhausted throughout the day, these are all ways in which these spirits are cultivating their energy.
Exactly.
And eventually it's not going to be enough.
Mm-hmm.
Once the house has been depleted of all of its energy, the next thing that they're going to go for is you and your energy resources.
Well, you're right. That is true, and especially if you don't have the experience with it, I have to agree with you, Leilani. See, me, I play with fire, so please don't play with fire. Don't
try this at home, you guys.
Right, exactly. Don't try this at home because and they'll say, "Well, Sacred Owl said." No, I did not say that. But I will say this to you, that in doing everything that you have to do, you're right. You can axe them out. Remember, you as a human being are three-dimensional. Okay, so you have the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual, right? Or spiritual, emotional, mental, and the physical. They are just two-dimensional. They do not have a physical form, so you have dominion over them.
Exactly.
So you could command them to stay or to go or to do what you want to do. I do strongly agree with Leilani and recommend that you, if they already are violating your space, then give truth to boot. No problem at all. But just remember though, in doing that, you can't do it with negativity. You have to do it with a sense of love and peace, because then you take them to a frequency that they can't handle.
And the reason why someone like Sacred Owl and myself, Diane, the reason why we can play with fire, so to speak, is because when Sacred Owl was talking about those energy bodies that we're all comprised of, it's not just having dominion over ghosts, but also having dominion over your own energy bodies. And so part of the reason why it is dangerous for someone who's not experienced or someone who doesn't understand is because you haven't mastered being able to have dominion over those spiritual bodies of your own. And so you can't possibly then go and try and exert that power onto something else. So this is why we always bring it back to meditation, learning self-awareness, all that stuff, because if you do want to play with these kinds of energies, you have to have those in place first.
Right. And if you do have a spirit in your home that's not really just scaring the dog, tell them to stop.
Right.
Right, and let's not forget, and there was a comment here too, that animals are much more sensitive to seeing spiritual activity.
Absolutely. So Tracy said that her dog won't go up and down the stairs if the spirit's in the stairway. Well, you can ask the spirit not to scare the dog. I mean, the dog's going to see the spirit wherever it is, and obviously you have a spirit that's could be a family member, you know, could be anybody. And so
I just have to give a shout out right now. One of the coolest mother effers on the planet right now is watching my YouTube, and I have to. Sancisto Brujo Luis, my brother, I love you so much. Thank you so much for watching this. Now, you want to talk about an expert on ghosts and spirits, and this dude, woo, y'all! I can't wait for him to comment.
So Gabriel, who is my future son-in-law, is calling me out.
He did.
He says, Diane, your house is haunted. And like to mess with me when I'm alone. And this is very true. So Gabriel lives in my home in Florida with my daughter, and he is always being messed on by a spirit there.
I'm not surprised.
And they will open to go from his room to the restroom. There's another bedroom, and they will open and close the door. So if he's in the bathroom, they'll close the door on him if it's been open, you know, like, and mess with him. Or he had thought one time that I was in my room downstairs. The dogs were sitting outside my bedroom, which is downstairs, and they're upstairs. And the dogs were sitting out there, and he knew I wasn't home. He knew I wasn't there. I'm here in New York. But the dogs are sitting there waiting, like as if they were waiting for me, because they do this when I'm there. So it freaked him out a little bit. He scooped up the dogs and ran upstairs.
To answer
Gabriel.
To answer one of the questions, because I think it was on your on your thingy. It was how to, if you are going to ask them to leave or to send them off if your house is having activity, how do you do that? One of the ways that was brought up, and actually mine, because a lot of my guys are answering, believe it or not.
Cool.
One of the ways to do that is to give the spirit light.
Right. Absolutely.
So
thank you for
giving them light. And Sancisto made a really good point here. Giving them light doesn't necessarily mean, you know, all sunshine and butterflies, you know, oh, please go to the light, you know, and find peace. Sometimes it can be an aggressive goodbye, depending on what is needed for the time. But the point is that the light itself, the energy of the light, the flame, is symbolic, and it's very much the energy of fire that helps the spirit to pass through. And it can be done gently, and it can be done quite aggressively, just like fire.
Right.
Very cool.
You know?
Let's take just a moment break to get a word from our sponsor.
Yes.
And you want to do it again?
No, go for it.
Okay. Well, we're being sponsored lovingly by Rivera Law Offices at 309 Mill Street, Poughkeepsie, New York. The number is 845-452-1422. It's JuliusRiveraLaw.com. Offices in Poughkeepsie, Pauling, Peekskill, Middletown, the Bronx, and Daytona Beach, Florida. Julius Rivera has over 30 years experience specializing in consumer bankruptcy, uncontested divorce wills, mortgages modifications, deed transfers, POAs, and more. And our other sponsor, of course, is the Angel Aura Spiritual Boutique here on 12 West Main Street. And their number is 845-493-0355. And you could get them at the AngelAuraSpiritualBoutique.com, or you could email them at AngelAura spiritualboutique@gmail.com, right?
Yay! You did it! Bro.
Yes.
And we're going to definitely get back on the topic, but very quickly, somebody asked about contacting animal spirits. That is a topic that we will get to, but that's not a topic that's included for today.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that soon.
And I said to them, if you guys want to know how to contact your animals and the ones that cross over, you can definitely contact Diane, call the shop, or contact one of us, and we'll be more than happy to assist you with that, and we'll work all that out. Okay, but getting back to the point now, and
Leilani, you wanted to talk to Raquel
so
for a second.
Raquel asked a question. She said, "How do we connect to these ghosts and these spirits?" Right. I'll ask Sacred Owl in a minute.
Sure.
I think my first thing that I'm going to say is probably a caution. Don't connect to spirits and ghosts if you're not sure how to go about doing that. If you're nervous, if you're worried. Remember how we talked about worriedness and fear, things like that. So if this is in your energy field, I highly suggest you just don't do that. I would highly recommend starting with something a little bit more gentle, like maybe your ancestors and your spirit guides first.
you can go more gentle than that. and connect with the spirit, with the elemental realms.
The elemental realms.
Yeah, the calm ones, not
right,
no fire,
right.
not no
angelic realms.
Right.
You know, try
Yes,
and work
definitely
with
the angels.
some of those kinds of guides first to get your feet a little wet before you attempt to try to contact otherworldly spirits and just ghosts from any haunted place and
always
I would
calling
highly
on your
recommend that.
angels for protection and guidance, because they're there to do that for you. In my belief.
Absolutely. Well, you know, to kind of break it down, let's talk about the energy of spirits. Very quickly, when a person, the human body is made up of muscles, bones, tissues, and a whole lot of water, but it has this thing called electromagnetic energy that actually allows us to move our mouth, to eat, to think, our heartbeats, all that. Thank goodness for the auto system that allows our heart to beat. Because if we had to think about our heart beating, all of us would be on the ground, dead. Or if we had to think about breathing, then it would be that would be another challenge. But one thing is that when you cross over, and I've seen this happen. I've been to many situations. I saw a person cross over. I actually see the energy coming out of the person. This is a ball of electromagnetic energy. So if you pass away with a lot of passion, you pass away with a lot of that energy is involved in that electromagnetic energy. And that energy can actually come into a person or it can be contacted by a person. So when you're dealing with that, if you carry a frequency, let's say the electromagnetic energy frequency is at number 4, but you're carrying a frequency that's 9, it can't really mess with you. It can't really come with you. But if you fall into fear, then you're matching it at 4, and guess what? You guys are going to play tag now, and that is something that you have to keep in mind. Your emotions is what gives permission for these spirits to mess with you. Your emotions is what gives permission to demons to mess with you. Your emotion gives permission for people to mess with you.
Exactly.
So if you learn how to manage those emotions and not be reactive, but be proactive, then you're not going to have to deal with none of that nonsense that will come and attach itself to you or quote unquote attack you. Nothing can harm you unless you give it permission.
Exactly.
And if you give it permission, then that's the whole thing. And mind you, the body, again, is made of electricity. It's made of, I remember a Star Trek thing, it said they called us a carbonated bag of water, of electrified water. So if your spirit leaves you, then that electricity leaves you. That now becomes energy that could be caught or could leave or could dissipate. It all depends on your state of mind, your belief system, and where you're going. If you feel like you're going to hell, then hell you shall be. It's really up to you and how you process that. And mind you, every ideology has their own version of it. We respect it, but we also know that maybe your version doesn't work for me, but my version works for me, and maybe not for you.
Exactly. And you need to, and dealing with any of the spirit stuff, whether it's in your home or in your life or your spirituality or whatever it is, you need to use what your intuition is telling you and what your guides are guiding you to do, and talk to them, and they'll take you through it. But but if you're poking at a spirit that's hanging around your house that's moving toasters and moving stuff around,
right,
think twice.
There was a question here that I think is a really good one to kind of tie into what we've been talking about.
Sure.
It asked, could a spirit fool you into thinking it's one of your loved ones reaching out? And the answer is yes, definitely spirits can do that. So although the subject is about ghosts too, spirits and ghosts are two very, very different things, right? Spirit is kind of like a large umbrella category, and ghost is just one subsect of that larger, broader category. And yes, spirits can definitely fool you into thinking that they are a loved one of yours. And so it's really, really important to use discernment in these kinds of activities. And what I mean by discernment is having awareness, being able to have testing kinds of questions, being able to have testing kinds of tools that you can put into place to make sure that you're speaking to who you're speaking to. Because the reality of the situation is this: not every energy is of the highest vibration, not every energy is for your highest good, not every spirit is there to give you a great message, and I differ slightly in belief with Sacred Owl with regards to, harm. I've witnessed very, very strong personalities, very, very strong or higher vibrational people very much get attacked, and whether they wanted to believe that or not. And at the end of the day, what it boils down to is this idea of having your set beliefs in place, having your awareness and discernment in place, having your practices on point. And this is, again, why we keep bringing everything back to meditation, why we keep bringing everything back to self-awareness, because raising your vibration and raising your abilities and raising your connection with the spirit realm, raising your connection with your ancestors, your spirit guides, your spiritual team is what we call them, kind of like your army. The more of a connection you have with them, the less likely any of these wilding out situations could ever really ever occur. And so, you know, come to Angel Aura Shop. We have tons of workshops. Sacred Owl runs tons of meditations. He'll do things on spirit animals. We have Diane, who runs, you know, meditations. We have Joe now, who's also doing intuitive. You know, I have my psychic development class. You know, so it's all about just kind of bringing yourself and elevating yourself up, so that when you're in situations like seances, you're not caught by surprise, you're not tricked, you're not, because you have an awareness and you're able to discern one spirit from the next, you know what I mean? It's a deeper kind of intuition, if that makes any sense, you know?
Absolutely, well said.
And I can appreciate what Leilani's saying, and the beautiful thing about it, even in our not agreement, we actually are agreeing on a very powerful level, because we realize that there has to be a level of respect
right,
that we have to have for the other
energies.
side.
Yes.
And if you don't have that respect, then you're going to get your behind handed to you.
That's what you were talking about earlier. You're coming in, antagonizing them.
Right, exactly.
Do that.
And, you know, I remember I was working for a local radio station, and they would have paranormal events, and they would tell us to insult the spirits, tell us to poke them. And I would I said, you guys could do that. I'm going to stand over here.
Yeah, I'm going to be over here.
Yeah, I'm going to be over
Watch
here.
y'all get flipped over.
Right. And no, but here's the thing.
No.
One person actually antagonized him so much that a year later he ended up getting leukemia and died of cancer.
Oh no!
And so you know, like you got to be really cool with all this stuff.
Absolutely,
you know,
yeah.
It's really
but that's
important.
not to say. But also to kind of get back to it, that's not to say also that spirits can't come in and trick you into thinking that you're your loved one that aren't good spirits.
Right.
Because you can have angels that do that. You can have spirit guides that can come in and pretend to be a loved one simply because that loved one is not ready to speak to you yet, or whatever the case may be that's happening on the other side, and they're coming on behalf of that loved one to give you a message that you might need. So it's not necessarily trickster spirits all the time,
Right.
but again, it all goes back
and
to
they'll give you a
discernment.
validation. So normally
Validation,
you will receive a validation,
confirmation, grounding.
They'll give you something to let you know that yes, this is who they are, or yes, this is from the message from that person. So
right.
Your angels and your spirit guides and our guides bring you those messages, right? When we're giving a reading,
Yes.
our guides, I always ask my guides to talk to your guides, let me know what they need.
One of the really great ways to really get your discernment strong is through divination. Getting yourself a really good divination system, learning a divination system, whether it's tarot or pendulum or whatever, learning it. So Martha in Angel Aura, she teaches a tarot class. Myself, I teach charming. You know, and it's once you learn a divination system, you'll be able to communicate with your spirit guides a lot easier and build a language and a communication with them that's very, very specific to you and your guides. And so when you're in these seances, they'll use that same language that you used with them during your divination in that seance, and you'll know without a doubt, oh, that's them.
That's them, exactly. And as if, like, when you're driving or if something you've done throughout the day that for a particular loved one that brought you that, when you come to the seance, they're going to give you that message that, well, you were playing with a ring of mine earlier today, you know, something like that. So there's always some sort of connection to let you know that they're coming. It's the same thing when you're coming in for a reading and whatever type of reading you're coming in for. And just a quick shout out to Martha, who's not with us tonight. We totally forgot to shout out Martha.
Hey, Martha.
Martha, we miss you.
We definitely miss you.
Bro, this timeline is blowing up. I got people all...
Yeah, and so
I wish we could talk about it all.
We're close to running out of time, so we kind of keep an eye on it. We have about 6 minutes left before we have to be trooping the boot, but booting the troop, whatever the case may be. But is there? We want to thank everybody for tuning in.
Absolutely.
And you know, to draw a conclusion to this whole topic, because this topic could be spoken for hours.
Ugh.
By the way, our girl Wahab, I had to pronounce it correctly. Wahaba.
Wahaba's
Kadir.
there?
Yep,
Yay!
Abu. Right, she wrote a beautiful book called Mysterious Beauties.
Yes.
Yes.
Living among the paranormal in the Hudson Valley. And she's
Yeah,
quite
get that book, y'all.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
quite
for
an
sure.
expert in it. Yeah, definitely get that book, and then and read chapter 9.
Up to 9.
Right, because that's about homeboy here.
And
But-
for any of you guys who are curious about what I was talking about earlier with regards to misas and espiritismo, Sancito Brujo Luis, who's in my timeline right now, also wrote a book called Luz y Progreso. And it's an English book that talks about
that's cool.
espiritismo,
That's
and
very
it's
cool.
very detailed, and you guys will learn a lot. It's a great book.
That's awesome. And,
Super cool.
and greetings to Luis, to Luis, right? Is
Yes.
it? Yeah, greetings to him. Namaste, brother. And with that in mind, though, are there any closing thoughts before we kind of breeze on out of here?
I did want to say that on the 28th, John DeBlasi is going to be in the shop holding
Yes.
an Angels and Dragon attunement. I'm going to try to get him on a phone call on next show on Monday, so that he can discuss
Okay,
his
very cool.
workshop. It's going to be amazing. He's an amazing person. His energy is off the charts. So definitely join in for that one. I've already got quite a few people signed up. So call me at the shop.
My closing thought is definitely come to the seance on the 28th,
29th.
29th.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be safe and wonderful. You're going to have myself, Sacred Owl, Diane. We're all going to be there.
Martha, Star.
Yeah, it's going to be a great night. Come with an open mind.
Maybe Joe will show up. He might not have left for California yet.
No,
Yeah.
I think he's leaving in the end of the month. Well, you know what? He may not have left because it is the end of the month.
Yeah, so maybe
Yeah.
he'll show up. That would be cool.
Very,
I love
very
his.
cool.
I love all of his spirituality and his.
Mhm.
When Joe's in the shop, I can see his guides walking behind him, just pouring in that information in this head of his.
That is so cool.
Thank you to everyone on Facebook who showed up. You guys are awesome for commenting.
Yes. Thanks guys for all the support at the shop, and lots of stuff going to happen. Stop in and have tea with me. Alicia, I'm giving you a shout out. She brought me some lovely teas. So we have new teas in the shop.
Yay!
Right. Well, you know what? We have a lot of we have a lot of stories from people. I'm reading all the things that people are writing.
I know
Yeah.
the timeline is blowing up.
Absolutely. Inbox us and let us know. 'Cause
Yeah.
We'll have another part.
We
2
might
of
do a
this
part
stuff.
2 of
I
this.
think
There's
so.
just too
Definitely have
much.
to.
There's just too much.
But also, I want to thank everybody on social media. Everybody, thank you for supporting us. And we also like to thank our sponsor, Rivera Law Offices at 309 Mill Street, Poughkeepsie, New York. The number is 845-452-1422, and the website is juliusriveralaw.com. There are offices in Poughkeepsie, Paulding, Peekskill, Milltown, the Bronx, and Daytona Beach, Florida. It reminds me when I used to have to do the closings of the schools. I used to have a list of all the places. And Julius Rivera has over 30 years experience. He specializes in consumer bankruptcy, uncontested divorce, wills, mortgage modifications, deed transactions, POAs, and much, much more. We want to thank also the Angel Aura Shop for sponsoring the show and being a part of this. And it's called the Angel Aura Show. We have a rebroadcast coming in through Mixcloud, and you just tap into the Angel Aura Show, and you'll definitely hear us doing that. And we want to thank our boy
Rob!
Yes, Rob.
Our sound
Yay,
man!
Rob.
Thank you, Rob!
He does a great job because every week sometimes we want to play 2 songs, 1 song, no song.
Yeah.
He's right on point.
He's
with
always
us.
with it.
Okay,
He's always
guys,
with
whatever
it.
you're doing, whatever you're doing.
And we really appreciate him, but we also have to kind of close up because we have another show coming in real
Yes.
soon.
Yes. we
And
do.
next week, actually this Friday, please be there to the seance. We've got Billy. We're going to thank Billy for that because
Thank you,
him
Billy.
in advance.
Yes, Billy's
Billy always comes, and we
fantastic.
have such a great time with him
Yes.
Oh yeah.
and his wife Kathy.
Yes.
And one last thing, I want to thank you, Diane.
Thank you. Thank me. Thank you. Well,
Yeah,
you're
because-
welcome.
She's like, huh?
Yeah, I know, right? She did a Scooby-Doo.
What?
Okay, so no, I want to thank you because you put the show together. It's
Oh.
like because of you. This is why we're here. We have a good time. We have people who get a lot of information. I'm getting such positive feedback.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm glad. I love it. I love this stuff.
Right, right, we do too, so, we,
And Owl and Leilani are like, what's the format? What are we gonna do? What are we
Right.
gonna play? And I'm like, who knows? Let's just go and see what happens.
all the secret is kept. These two drive me crazy. they drive me crazy because I've been on radio for so many years, and there's certain formats, and they're like, okay, we're down, okay, we're
gonna
good,
change it,
we're gonna do it, and then I come here 2 minutes before the show. Oh, by the way, we're changing it. What? Okay, you know, so, but I love them. I love it. If it wasn't, if they didn't do that, I would think something's wrong. So you know, but we want to thank everybody for being
It's
a part of
been
that.
great.
So
And-
much love, light, grace, blessings, you
And
guys.
listen, I am setting up that women's retreat, and I know I'm blasting early, but I want you guys to come and
Get
talk
yourselves
to me about
excited.
that. It's going to be super cool. I got a lot of sponsors
Yes.
happening. Secret. I am Diane Rivera. This is the Angel Aura Show. We're at 12 West Main Street here in the Village of Pauling. Give us all a shout out. I love everyone that works with me in
We
the
love
shop.
you too.
AngelAuraBoutique.com. Check out our webpage. It has all of our events, workshops, talks about everybody at the shop, and come in and talk to us. Have a cup of tea.
Namaste, everyone. We
Bye,
love
everybody.
You.
I
Thank
love
you.
everyone.
We love you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
That was so much fun, y'all. That was a good one. Man, y'all threw,
Okay, guys.
oh my
thank you so
gosh,
much
you
for
went
being a part of the
crazy
show.
on
We
my
love you.
thing.
Love you guys.
We're going to
I
have
love
to
your
do a part
support.
2. We're definitely going to have to do a part 2. This was too
Namaste.
much.
And we'll catch you same time
Love you
next
guys.
week. Peace.
Sancisto, my mom, my madrina, all you guys. Thank you so much. Mwah. Love you. Bye.